Welcome to another video of Geospinach. Today we're going to examine the mistakes done by the red team attacking in a single envelopment, wanting to do a double layer and cell command, and how the black team has failed in their surprise, but how they succeeded in breaking out their troops. This video is based on the examples we've made on the other two videos. If you want to look directly on their mistakes and see the whole project together, this is the video I'm going to show. The idea for the red team is to launch a general objective based on the Russian model of deep battle operations to enlarge the pocket as much as possible, as for example with the Battle of Stalingrad, where you had one layer of encirclement and a second layer of encirclement. The issue that we encounter with the red team is that they overplanned it, in the concept that they overreached all objectives and they didn't have enough troops, or they didn't plan for the constituencies. This is very vital for anyone to understand, because retreating and breaking out in war is very vital, because in many cases you might lose your whole army. Stalingrad battle. Or, for example, the Korsun Pocket, where it was partially a success. Now, let's see exactly the war scenario. Here we have the red team, where it's planning to attack from the north over here, with the main objective of encircling the enemy and creating a first layer of encirclement and a second layer of encirclement over here. Now, the red team is unaware that the black team has concentrated good supplies and troops in positions in here, 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 and here. So they're launching their attack and they manage to break through, but now they start to encounter some issues. There is an encirclement here, which is kind of delaying their armored troops pushing through. There is a big encirclement over here of 2 brigades, but they are well supplied and they don't seem to be able to break them. They are kind of unopposed in the north, so that's quite good for them. But with their general plan of attacking in the south, over here with their forces, and just using one brigade to create some sort of a vanguard, they are kind of overexposing themselves. At the same time, the black team, while it attacked without having good defensive positions on their flanks, so their troops over here, here, and here were not in good defensive positions to expect an armor attack, and they didn't dug in, so they didn't create good defensive, deep defensive systems to be able to expect an attack. They were unprepared, but they were prepared enough to have these pre-existing vanguard positions. Now, as the plan for the black team is quite correct in gradually moving away their good and strong armor forces while sacrificing few troops and suffering quite heavy casualties in being able to maintain the red team. Now, the red team on the other side starts to be losing quite a lot of the concentration of its force because of those encirclements, but at this stage of the battle, it's not completely obvious. Now, as the battle progresses though, they are kind of overstretched in quite many instances. So this that I'm circling right now shows you that these create bottlenecks in the supply network of the red team, and as a result is much harder for supplies to come in as well as reinforcements, and at the same time is tiding down quite a lot of troops. These troops were supposed to be attacking the pocket, not attacking a supplied position. Now, they could have moved away to attack the pocket, but if they did so, the troops remaining within that pocket, because they're well supplied, could have attacked their flanks. As a result, they are forced to force that encirclement. Now, at this point is where things going bad for the red team. This is where you follow a plan blindly. Since you still have quite a strong concentration of force, in this case over here, and you are gradually breaking through, and also you have a vanguard in the north, but you are quite very much exposed, and you are unaware of what's happening with the enemy, so you are underestimating the enemy. It could have been a good plan for them to divert forces from the possible second layer to the second layer over here, or divert at least some forces to the north to create at least a good vanguard. The main concept of this is to create a line that will look something like this. So create a line something like this. So still manage to encircle some troops, but not all of them, and at the same time have the armor, which are quite strong in open terrain, to be able to deal with any possible counterattack. But they still plan to push through, thinking that they will be able to achieve their encirclement as well as their second encirclement. This they partially manage to do, but as I said priorly, they got counterattacked by the black team here in the north. Now, at this situation, they got quite a lot of forces exposed, no troops in the back, so the reinforcements that they were supposed to go into the pocket, so all of these units that they were supposed to go and support the attack on the pocket are now diverted to the north, so they're not part of the major attacking operation. At the same time, their vanguard over here is very weak, and their armor, while still strong, it has suffered quite a lot of casualties, and they are still pushing for the second envelopment. What they are not unaware of is that a huge portion of the enemy's armor has managed to escape the pocket, and this is very, very crucial. At the same time, they don't know the logistical level of the enemy within the pocket, which in this war game, the logistical level is quite strong. So the forces within the pocket are able to conduct offensive operations, and that's put them in a quite precautious position, the troops over here. Now, as the battle develops, they manage to achieve the second layer as well as the first layer, but their forces in the north have taken quite severe casualties. They are unaware of the concentration of the force here of the enemy of the north, but they know that the enemy has forces here because an armor and a mechanized brigade has appeared. So now they have to establish a possible front in the north, and since it's an open terrain, it's quite hard to be achieved. At the same time, these two encirclements are delaying the whole operation completely, and now it will have been a good idea to completely abandon the second layer and retreat back to the first layer. But what the red team chooses to do is try to enforce that layer, unaware of the troops that managed to escape the pocket to counterattack using the troops that came as reinforcements, as well as the troops in the good positions of the hill and the pinning down operations across the whole front. The point of the black team is to keep the red team on its toes. You can see, of course, each individual video I made for each different side to understand what's going on. Now, again, as the battle progresses, their whole operation on the second layer has failed. Now, at this point, the red team has lost the initiative. Since they have lost the initiative, they are unable to launch a major offensive. So they are forced to keep on the defensive. Doing so allows the black team to concentrate its force. Now, a lot of units have been freed, so they will be able to go and reinforce the position, but at this point, the whole operation is kind of lost. The best possible thing for them to do is completely abandon the encirclement attempt, or at least use surprise and attack in different positions to at least capture some better objective or a secondary objective while abandoning the city, since they already have managed to free their space over here, but we assume that they are following with their first plan to enforce the encirclement. Doing so, the black team managed to concentrate very severe forces here while using diversionary attacks across the front, so the red team will be unaware of what's happening. As a result, the encirclement breaks, as well as losing quite strong armor and infantry forces. This leads to a general failed scenario, but both sides at this point are completely exhausted, so no one is able to continue the offensive in the foreseeable future, and both sides will have to go in a defensive manner. Parenthesis here, a defensive manner, which is very important, means moving your armor back, even if it has suffered quite heavy casualties, is still able to fight. So moving it back and create a possible reaction to any further attacks, reinforce the front line using good terrain, so in this case the river, as well here, as well as the city with the river and the hilltop, and have ready reserves. The same thing the red team does as well. Now the red team hasn't truly failed, since it did manage to liberate this part of the front, but it has generally failed to begin with to do their single environment or double layering attack. The black team has succeeded in their breakout operation, but they were failed to begin with to have their forces in that exposed position. Those forces should have either been dug in or have the stronger infantry placed in these positions as for them to be able to deal with any possible attack. The battle is won by the one with the better reserves. In this case, we see that better reserves managed to save the Black Army, but nonetheless, by the end of the battle, both sides are really beaten off. So no one kind of won, both of them lost quite a lot of men. Thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you want me to go more into details into my military videos, please say so. If you have any comments or recommendations, I would love to hear them. Thank you for watching and have a good night.